that includes financial experts who could try to haul the nation back from the edge of the cliff.
Adam Harvey reporting. The social network Twitter says it will ban all political advertising worldwide. A series of tweets from the company's CEO Jack Dorsey argued that a political message should be good enough to spread on its own without the help of paid placement. Rory Kethlen-Jones explains what the ad ban covers.
This is all announced in a kind of long series of tweets, appropriately, by Jack Dorsey, Twitter's founder. And he's effectively saying that political messages should be earned, not bought. In other words, you as a political party can go on Twitter and tweet any way you like, and if you are good enough and if people listen to you, then you can spread it for free. But buying it is something he doesn't like. And he goes through a whole series of reasons why he's worried about internet advertising in general. He says it's incredibly powerful, but the power brings significant risks to politics, where it can be used to influence votes to affect the lives of millions. He talks about machine learning-based optimization of messaging, that's using AI, artificial techniques to target people, micro-targeting, unchecked misleading information, deep fakes, that sort of fake videos which are becoming more common. And he's worried about all of these techniques and say this is a huge challenge for society.
That was the BBC's technology correspondent Rory Kethlen-Jones. He says the move will also be seen as a swipe at Facebook, which has been under pressure for allowing political ads unchecked for misinformation. Fewer people would have died in London's devastating Grenfell Tower fire if the fire brigade had told residents to evacuate earlier. That's the damning finding of the first report from an inquiry into the tower inferno, which killed 72 men, women and children. But survivors and relatives say they don't want firefighters to be used as scapegoats, arguing the first phase of the inquiry should have focused on the building's renovation and combustible cladding. Here's the ABC's Samantha Hawley.
For the relatives of the dead, the grief is still palpable. More than 2 years since 72 people died in the Grenfell Tower inferno, the first phase of an inquiry into the fire is complete. And it's scathing, finding more people could have been saved if it was not for the actions of the London Fire Brigade. It took almost 2 hours after the fire started in a fridge freezer on the 4th floor for the building to be evacuated. At the foot of the still-standing Grenfell Tower in London's west, Ahmed Shalit remembers the day he pleaded with his brother-in-law, his wife and 3 children to flee.
I was the last person talking to my sister-in-law, where she suggested that they're waiting for the fire brigade to come. They asked them to stay indoors. And I was begging my brother-in-law to come down.
That must be a terrible memory for you to have to live with.
It is a terrible tragedy. And we need answers, and we haven't got the answers yet.
The inquiry chair, retired Judge Martin Moore-Bick, slams the London Fire Brigade for systemic failings and serious shortcomings, while praising the bravery of individual firefighters. Tarek Gotti was one of the first responders to the fire and lost many friends.
How does today feel, I think, is the most important question.
Oh, well, I don't know what to say. It feels kind of sad, but also there's some answers questions haven't been answered properly.
The first part of the report is very damning on the London Fire Brigade.
Well, yeah, I feel sorry for them.
Do you? Why?
Me personally, I don't blame the firefighters. I blame their superiors. But also could have called different shots.
The report does find the cladding around the tower did not meet building regulations and demands similar dangerous combustible cladding be more quickly removed from more than 400 other high-rise buildings. But issues relating to the renovation of the tower won't be considered until the second phase of the inquiry next year. Yvette Williams is from the group Justice for Grenfell.
We need to look at, why we've got cladding, combustible cladding for sale. Why are we covering buildings that people live in? I think there's some huge issues around social housing.
The report urges the British Prime Minister to act quickly on the 46 recommendations, including to improve training for fire brigade staff. The London Fire Chief, Danny Cotton, defiant throughout, has refused to resign, but has apologised.
And London Fire Brigade are truly sorry we couldn't have saved everyone's life that night.
Too little, too late for the bereaved.
Samantha Hawley with that report. The Niger Delta ought to be a wildlife paradise, but oil spillages have devastated the environment and severely harmed the lives of the people who live there. A commission is investigating the impact of the spills. The Archbishop of York, John Sentamu, is a member of the commission and has described what's going on as environmental genocide. The BBC's Mayeni Jones reports.
I'm on a boat headed to some of the waterfront communities that have been affected by oil spills in the state of Bayelsa in the Niger Delta. One of the things that's made it difficult for authorities to investigate this in the past is how remote many of these communities are. But that's precisely why they're in need of assistance, because many of them rely on fishing for their survival. The waterways of Bayelsa in southern Nigeria were once a thriving ecosystem, but it's been devastated by decades of oil spills. I'm at a spill site in Oyerek, Benin, and they say that the initial spill happened in 2014 and that since then spills keep on recurring in this area, and it's really evident in the vegetation. Everywhere is completely blackened, only the skeletons of trees left, no animal life whatsoever.
Then the oil drum, if you go...
It's the oil. Even if you manage to catch a fish, there are a few that are okay, and that's what we eat. But on others, their heads are the only things that are left. They are so slim. They have no flesh. So it's hard for us to feed ourselves.
Bayelsa was where oil was first discovered in Nigeria in the 50s. Since then, it's completely changed the lives of the local communities. The waterways are essential to the way people live here. They bathe in it, it's the source of their livelihood, and it's where a lot of their food comes from. So oil spills can mean devastation, not just financially, but also in terms of their health.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you for hosting us in this, your community.
According to the Bayelsa State Oil and Environmental Commission, chaired by the Archbishop of York, oil companies are ultimately responsible for the environmental damage here. Dr. John Sentamu says they want to set up guidelines for oil extraction that will protect local communities.
For me, really, as I've looked at the environment and as I've looked at people's lives, I've come to the conclusion that this is a very slow environment.
My name is Mike Bowman. I'm an Inspector, Area Commander of Southland. Police have this morning arrested a man in connection to the tragic death of an 8-year-old child in a Tautau, and this man has been charged with murder. They will appear in the Invercargill Youth Court later this afternoon. Sorry, can we start again? Is that right? Is that right? Sorry, guys. Right. Police have this morning arrested and charged a person with murder in relation to the death of an 8-year-old in the Tautau, Southland, overnight. They will appear later today in Invercargill Youth Court. Police were called to the incident around 10:30 last night. As a result of that, a forensic examination is now being completed at 2 addresses in the Tautau. This is a truly tragic incident, and our thoughts are with the family through this extremely difficult time. Police, along with victim support, will continue to support the family and the tight-knit community of Tautau through this tragic incident. Police are not seeking anyone else in relation to this incident, and wish to reassure the community that this is an isolated incident. We do ask that anyone with information that may assist this investigation is urged to contact the police on 10-5. As the matter is now before the Youth Court, we are not able to discuss this matter in depth.
Are you able to tell us the age of the person who's been arrested?
No, not at this stage. As the matter is now before the Youth Court.
Are you able to comment on the relation of the address that has been called off next to the property?
Not at this stage, no.
Can you say whether the victim and the accused were known to each other?
No, I can't, sorry, not at this stage.
Are any further charges likely?
We can't comment on that at this stage. The inquiry is still in its infancy, so we still have to determine the incident itself.
Have any weapons been recovered?
I can't comment in relation to that.
Now, have you given any more details as to why two addresses have been cordoned off?
They are just two addresses of interest that have come out as a result of the inquiry thus far. So they've both been cordoned off as part of the inquiry.
I guess level of response. How many? What was the response last night?
We had a response from a lot of the Western District staff, police staff, who attended as initial responders and were supported by Invercargill staff.
How long do you expect the cordon to remain up in place?
Well, the two houses are undergoing forensic examination with the use of ESR, and we expect the houses will undergo at least 2 days examination and possibly proceed into the weekend.
Are you able to comment on who called the police?
We were notified by members of the family.
We've been told that the offender may have been babysitting the 8-year-old. Are you able to confirm?
No, I'm not able to comment on it at this stage.
Have you got an idea about the time of death in comparison to the fallout?
No, that's still yet to be determined by the forensic examination. As I say, we were notified around 10:30 last night.
What sort of support things are in place for the immediate family and community?
Well, we've got a team working with victim support, and they are linking into the family and also the tight-knit community, in particular the schools of the deceased, which is really important, as though the children at school will be extremely traumatised, losing a close friend.
Is there just one school in that community?
One school we're working with at the moment.
Where was the offender located?
I can't discuss that at this stage.
Are you able to say if there was any delay in arrest after the call of the homicide?
The man was taken into custody a short time after police were notified, in early hours of this morning.
Was the dog squad or AOS involved in the arrest?
A number of police personnel were involved in the arrest.
They won't go into specifics and things?
No.
Are you able to confirm how the child died?
No. A forensic examination post-mortem was yet to be carried out on the child.
We heard from a family friend that he was called and notified at about 9 p.m. of the child's death. Are you able to comment on if there was, what might have caused any delay in the police being contacted?
As I say, we were notified at 10:30, and I can't comment on when other people have been notified. That's the time we were notified.
Can you say who was home with the child at the time?
No, I can't at this stage. Again, that's still part of the investigation, of the wider investigation.
Are you getting assistance from teams from outside of Southland?
At the present time, we're getting assistance from ESR for the forensic examination, and we have some support coming down, have arrived from Dunedin to help support our investigation team.
Was the offender known to police before this incident?
I'm not prepared to comment on that.
Have there been any call-outs to the house before?
That still will form part of the investigation. We're still at an early stage of collating a lot of information, so I can't comment on that.
Who have police interviewed so far?
Again, I'm not prepared to comment on that.
How are the family holding on?
This is a tragic event involving an 8-year-old child, and you only have to use your own imagination to know the trauma that they are going through this difficult time. And we have full sympathy go out to the family and the friends and the wider community, because as I've said, the community of Aotearoa are such a close-knit community. It's wide-reaching, the impact.
Will police staff get any support?
At this stage, we're happy with the resourcing we've got, but we will assess that on a day-to-day basis to obviously give our staff some support as well, because we, like the community, are impacted by this type of incident. So we have to make sure that we are supporting our own staff through this traumatic incident.
Do you continue to interview witnesses today?
It's going to take a number of days, if not a number of weeks, to complete this inquiry. Thanks very much, team. Cheers. Sorry I couldn't answer many more questions, but...
including Wellington, mainly fine apart from the odd shower north of Gisborne City and a shower or two elsewhere tomorrow. Manawatu to Kapiti, also Nelson, Marlborough and Canterbury, fine, but showers possible about Banks Peninsula this evening. Buller and Westland, fine spells, isolated showers. Otago, excluding Clutha, mostly fine.